I said it was going to be a quick break.
Yeah, you did.
It was. Howdy, and thanks for joining us here on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. So glad that you could join us.
We couldn't wait to get to Buzz.
Well, and we're going to get to him here in just a second. It's your favorite go-to spot in-car podcasting and live streaming. You're on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Just ahead, Buzz Smith. Going to talk about the EV sinking ship. Oh, I didn't say that, did I? Conrad has... Conrad has this week in auto history, and we'll get you caught up on the stories making news this week. Howdy, along with Mike.
Buzz all choked up over there.
Along with Mike out of this world, Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We always need more Jeff Seek, and I'm Don Armstrong. Let's just get right to it, shall we? Here he is, live from the Dallas Cowboys headquarters. It's Buzz Smith. I'm sorry, I just had to go. Good morning. You know I got to razz you. You know that.
Oh, no. I actually think the reason I got invited at this time is all of the doom and gloom news, and you hit it right there. So let's
just say we were lucky on that.
Well, let's see. Dallas Cowboys, electric vehicles.
Cold weather. None of them work.
Thanks for coming in. We'll see you next week.
So I had this all planned out. I was going to read this story, and I'm going to read this story. Before we get started with Buzz, he is our EV god, if you will. He knows it all. Tesla owners in Chicago found out the hard way that EV makers' vaunted supercharger network can't always overcome extreme weather conditions. Perfect storm of freezing temperatures, offline charging stalls, and high demand combined to create a rare charging breakdown for Tesla, which is the U.S. leader in charging infrastructure, both for the size of its network and its reliability, or lack thereof. Chicago's WGN-TV visited several of the stations Monday and found long lines in tow trucks in some cases, taking Tesla vehicles to owners' homes or to other supercharger stations. An unidentified Uber driver told WGN that he had to wait an hour for an open charger and then had to wait 2 hours for a full charge while driving in the cold. Battery range fell so fast that he had to charge twice a day while operating as a rideshare. Part of the problem was out of Tesla's control since EVs use more energy in cold weather, as do gasoline vehicles, according to the U.S. Department of Energy. Agency says on its website that gas mileage is about 15% lower in the freezing cold, while EV efficiency can fall by up to 40%, depending on how much energy is used to heat the cabin. And that seems to be a real stickler there, heating the cabin.
At 20 below, I would think so.
So, well, listen to this. Newer Tesla models have heat pumps that use far less energy than traditional resistive heaters. EV charging stations are not as plentiful as gasoline stations, and charging takes far longer in the cold since EV batteries need to warm for a fast charging session. This from Automotive News. On its web page, Tesla said that cold weather best practices include warming the cabin and battery before leaving home, preconditioning the battery before arriving at a supercharger station, driving slower to conserve energy, and using seat heaters to keep warm rather than the cabin heater. I get all that. Slowdown in electric vehicle sales growth has put suppliers in a bind as they look to manage customer demand for parts for both EVs and internal combustion engine vehicles. EV sales growth stalled in the back half of 2023, and EV inventory began to pile up. That caused some automakers to pull back on aggressive EV rollout plans, at least in the short term. GM pushed back the launch of the Chevy Silverado EV and GMC Sierra EV production in suburban Detroit until late 2025, while Ford said in October it would delay about $12 billion in EV spending and reduce Mustang Mach-E production. Okay, Buzz, take it away. I'm sorry. And to your defense, and I know that you and I joke a lot about EVs. I'm not a big fan. I think that there's a place in the world for EVs, but I think that people are expecting gasoline kind of mileage.
Yeah, it can't be a complete replacement for.
Correct.
Because there was one thing consistent about all of those wreckers going to tow those EVs in Chicago. They were all powered by
gasoline engines.
Vehicles.
Yeah. So, I guess one thing that I wanted to talk to you about, and really the story kind of explained the thing with cold weather and batteries and Teslas and charging and all that sort of stuff. So I don't really want to hammer that too much. But EV sales have really plummeted, and I think that they're all backed up on dealer lots, not necessarily because people don't like them. I think that part of the problem is interest rates and the price of them. Let's face it, I mean, they're not cheap.
Well, actually, there are some really affordable models out there. I just bought my 7th plug-in vehicle, and it's my first Tesla. And I thought Tesla is just, for the ultra-rich, except for maybe the Model 3. But we were looking for something we could take camping, and the Model Y would have been a better fit. But I tried desperately to buy either a Kia EV6 or a Hyundai Ioniq 5.
And you can't find one.
Oh, I found plenty of them. The problem was the dealers were putting $3,200 worth of, cup holder protections and door edge guards and stuff like that.
Cup holder protection. That's good. I like it.
I couldn't believe it, but it was actually on the list of the stuff that was added. So some of this is, going back to the old dealer game. And in their behalf, one of the problems that's going on is now invoice price and
interest rates.
Invoice price and the actual dealer cost are now lined up. They didn't used to be. And so a dealer could say, oh, we're giving you invoice pricing. So you're thinking, wow, I'm getting what the dealer paid for the car. You don't stay in business if your profit is zero. So they always had that cushion. Well, nowadays they don't have that cushion. So they're looking for other ways to generate profits. And there's a lot of mistrust going on between the dealers and the OEMs right now. The dealers are worried that the OEMs are trying to run them out of business so that they can take on the Tesla sales model of, just direct sales delivered directly to the customer, that sort of thing. As far as the sales drop for EVs that everybody's blowing way out of proportion, the government, I think, caused a lot of this. Interest rates absolutely did. But the government had a lot of confusion about which cars were going to still qualify for the $7,500 income tax credit.
Right.
They also made it where on January 1, if the dealer became or applied with the government to do this, the dealership could just give you that $7,500 as a point of sale discount. So a lot of people, me included, decided, hey, I'm just going to wait until 2024 to buy an EV so that if in case, like in my case, I'm retired and I may not.
You're not retired.
Well, no, I just came out of retirement, but I was retired. And, I may not qualify for the full $7,500. I may not have that big a tax burden. So I was going to wait till January 1, and then as I'm looking at vehicles, now the Hyundai and the Kias didn't qualify for the $7,500, but they were discounting them $7,500. So I got that with them, and then I went over and after visiting 2 dealerships that had just packed on thousands of dollars of extra cred, I was sitting there at my house on a Sunday, kind of depressed because I wanted to get an EV. And I just thought, I wonder if Tesla is open on Sundays. Well, they're not a dealership. So in Texas, yeah, they are. And I went and test drove it with my wife. And it was, they basically gave us the key and said, have fun for 45 minutes. So we went out driving just on our own. And when we looked at the numbers, believe it or not, the Tesla was cheaper than the Ioniq once the dealer packed all that stuff on there, but only if I got the $7,500. And as it turned out, Tesla couldn't tell me if the Model Y was going to qualify after January 1. So we decided to pull the trigger just before the end of the year to get the car. And no regrets. I mean, it's a phenomenal vehicle. I really did not want to buy a Tesla because I'm trying to tell the world, hey, there's plenty of great, inexpensive electric vehicles to buy. Tesla's not the only car in the world that's electric, so shop around. And when I did, in this case, in this particular area of Texas, the Tesla won the day.
Well, the Tesla has also been coming down in price because Elon has been discounting it because of competition now.
Yeah, there's competition. And since they got such a great head start and they're at mass production now, these other OEMs, and you mentioned Ford and Chevy, pulling back on their investments some, Tesla can just go to war with them and discount. And that's a huge advantage for Tesla. And it's going to take a while for the other EV manufacturers to get up to speed. Now, the thing that's on the horizon are the Chinese electric vehicles. They are not currently available in the United States, but they are in Europe, and they are stomping the traditional OEMs that are making electric vehicles. The European population loves the Chinese vehicles. They are very high quality vehicles. They're very affordable. They're subsidized probably way more than the U.S.
Oh, yeah.
With the tax credit. So that's an issue, and they are shopping. There's at least one brand I know of right now that's shopping for a factory location in Mexico. Once they start building them in North America, they're going to start qualifying for these tax credits.
Are you talking about VinFast?
No, VinFast is actually building a factory in the United States, and I got to drive one of their vehicles at the Electrify Expo, and they've gotten some really bad press, but I'll tell you, on that test drive, and we could drive them on the Formula One track, not at Formula One speeds, but that was an amazing vehicle. It's a 3-row SUV, exactly what the American market's looking for. And so the Kia EV9 that's about to come to the United States, well, actually, they're in production now. We're hoping to take one on the East Texas road trip in a week. But the Kia EV9 is going to be an amazing vehicle for America. And, you were mentioning some of these SUVs starting at $80,000. The EV9, I believe, comes in just below that. And definitely the VinFast does. So there are going to be a lot of really good choices, especially once they qualify for the tax credit.
Are you coming to Houston for the Houston Auto Show?
Not this year. On February 28th or January 28th, Texetra, the organization that I just became executive director of, we're putting on what's called the East Texas EV Road Trip. And so we're driving from Beaumont to Texarkana, stopping at several different cities to present to the chambers of commerce, the news media, hopefully hosting some politicians from that area. We have the conservatives for energy innovation that will be with us. So, I keep telling people EVs are not partisan. They're not political. It's not a liberal thing. If you're conservative and you care about international competition with China, if you care about energy independence, things like that, then EVs are still a great thing for you too. So it's not, some green conspiracy. There are things for liberals and conservatives when it comes to EVs, and we're going out there, even with a school bus. An electric school bus is going with us on this trip because in the Austin area, there's a school district that just got 91, or they just ordered 91 school buses. Longview, Texas, just ordered 10 electric school buses. So now that the government funds are coming out, we're seeing a lot more charging infrastructure. We're seeing a lot more school districts taking advantage of the program to get their school buses electrified. And that's what I'm focusing on this year. I did want to see you guys at the show, but I'm not going to be able to make it.
I wanted to see that red sequin jacket of yours. That's what I wanted to see.
The top hat.
I don't care about you. I just care about the jacket.
So Buzz.
Now that I'm executive director of Texetra, I've kind of toned it down a little bit.
I see that you're wearing a
little
black.
more stylish.
Yeah, you're looking good.
Well, I'm wearing this because I'm cold. I'm so tired of winter already.
Yeah. Well, when we started talking a few weeks ago, we were talking about if you made it down to Houston, we were going to talk a little bit about your new position with Texetra. And so we really haven't announced that or gone any place with that. So, but you brought it up. So can you just real quickly, what is that?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Texetra is a nonprofit that works with the state legislature on EV policy, things like EV incentives, EV taxation, because we now have to pay a $200 annual fee on top of normal registration since we don't buy gasoline to get our roads repaired. We work with the state government on infrastructure rollout. In fact, 5 years ago, we started generating the roadmap for EV electrification. And the NEVI funds are just starting to roll out into the field now, where you're going to see a lot of electric chargers getting built. And the big announcement from a lot of the OEMs to move towards the NACS or Tesla charger. In fact, it's national or North American charging standard. This is what Tesla named it. So they were kind of uppity there, saying, "Oh, we're going to take over," and now they are going to take over. So we're going to see a lot more charging infrastructure. And what's really cool for the other EV drivers than Tesla, just 2 miles from my house, in the parking lot of a Lowe's home improvement store, there's a bank of like 15 Tesla chargers, and they have Tesla's new Magic Port. And so when you pull up in a Tesla, it senses your car's a Tesla. And when you pull the charger out, it's a Tesla charger. If you pull up in a non-Tesla, when you pull the charger out, it's a CCS plug. So all of those non-Asian EVs that are here in the United States will be able to start using the Tesla charging network as they roll this program out across the nation, and that's going to be huge.
Let's talk about
with the DC chargers.
That's the DC fast charger, yeah.
Wow.
Let's talk about the reliability of these charging stations. I don't get very many EVs, but when I do, there's one not too far from me, and I won't tell you who it is, but it always seems like half of it works and the other half of it doesn't work. So frustrating, because you can only get 2 cars in there, one on either side of the thing, and when the other half doesn't work, well, you got to wait in line. What is up with that?
Well, I think that, Tesla was really focused on uptime, and they did I'll tell you, a fantastic job. The most common reason for chargers not to work is loss of connection to the network, so that, they can't charge you. And so one of the really innovative things I've seen is one of the charging companies now will actually you're using your phone app to start the charging session. So it uses your phone's connection to the internet. And let's say you're up in the Rocky Mountains somewhere and there is no internet connection and they lose their landline. They're actually able to spread that transaction data across all of the mobile phones of all the vehicles charging there. And when you get back into an area where you have cell phone connection, it will upload that transaction to the server. So losing that internet connection won't shut down those chargers. And it uses blockchain technology, so everybody's, information is completely private, but it basically, has a way to get that, save that information until the car and the cell phone in it gets to an area where it can pick up a signal, and then it just uploads that data.
Because that's bad PR,
It is bad PR, but the fact is, the internet, goes down, and especially in rural areas. Hopefully, that's getting fixed with the new infrastructure that's going out. But it's an innovative way to approach it, and I think that's going to be cool. But if the charging companies aren't careful, Tesla's going to take over now that they're doing CCS as well.
Is there a website for your new company?
Yes, in fact, we just rebranded and changed the name of the website to make it easier for people to remember. So remember, we're in Texas, and it's txev.org, and there you can see the latest news on electric vehicles. If you're in Texas, I'm begging you, join us. My position was held up until December 31st by a legend in Texas politics and in lobbying. His name was, oddly enough, it's Tom Smith, no relation, but he goes by Smitty. And he and I were at the Texas Energy Summit in the state legislature. And over from stage, you'd see a state senator or a state representative go, "Oh, and look, there's Smitty out in the audience, our good friend." And, I think as an organization, it's a big hit for us to take to lose his services. He's been lobbying in the state legislature for 42 years. And when he was with Public Citizen, he was one of the people that was responsible for us to getting the high-tension power lines that went from nowhere in the Panhandle to the major cities, which is now what is supporting wind energy and solar energy in Texas. So the work that he did over all those years, put us where we're leading the nation. We're number 1 in wind. We're number 3 and rapidly approaching number 1 in solar renewable energy. And we're talking, utility scale generation. So we're leading the nation there. We're number 3 in EV adoption right now. But what we need more voices. When we're talking to the legislature, we need members that can pick up the phone or go to their email and let their legislators know how they feel.
Buzz, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I appreciate your welcomeness as far as my sick sense of humor, and I'm always razzing you, and you know that I enjoy talking to you. I appreciate your knowledge.
I love you guys.
I got one question.
I always take it with a grain of salt. I know you're just ribbing me. You want it to be so bad you can taste it.
What quarter of the game did you turn off at?
I think it was like 10 minutes in. I'm not a big football fan anyway, but right after the Houston Astros and the Texas Rangers faced off in the ALCS. I was really hoping for a championship game between Dallas and Houston, and I think that the Dallas Cowboys should start producing some jewelry. If they came up with a nice choker for women, that would be a great piece of jewelry that I think would be popular nationwide.
Didn't know he was going there.
Buzz, I read where somebody had asked Roger Staubach if he thought that his team from back in the 70s could beat the current Dallas Cowboys. And supposedly he told the reporter, yeah, but it'd be really close. And it'd be like 10-7. And they asked him why. And Roger said, well, me and most of the guys on my team are in our 80s now. So,
touche.
That's it. Very good. Thank you. Buzz, good to talk to you, my friend. Take care of yourself.
All right, y'all keep an eye out for that Texas East EV road trip. It's going to be a hoot.
Well, we certainly will. Thanks again.